Hello, hello. This is the 154th Test from the Future, an experimental podcast from the year 2224, which we are sending from our present to yours. My name is Dirk.
And my name is Simon.
And we're putting the past in podcast.
Yeah, I'm a little bit tired this week. Sorry about that. And it's a bit funny though, because I've not been doing any training, unlike yourself.
Yes, true.
What was it you've been training for again?
It's the European Portal Triathlon.
That's it. It's coming up in the next few weeks, yeah?
Yeah, it should be pretty soon. So,
how's the training going?
Well, it's also tiring, but let's say physically tiring. And a couple of weeks ago, I wasn't decided yet whether I was gonna participate, but I signed up.
Mm-hmm. Cool.
So I spend a lot of time training, so running, hoverboarding, swimming.
It's not your first time taking part, is it? Or?
It's a full triathlon, yes.
Ah, okay.
So I've done like the usual local races, and I hoverboard a lot. So I will also do it at the weekend hoverboarding get-togethers. Mm-hmm. But yeah, a full Portal Triathlon is the first time actually.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's like physically tiring, mentally very relaxing.
Nice.
Yeah, it's a nice change. So yeah, a couple of weeks.
Looking forward to watching.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. But today we have something that is been in the news.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We've had it occasionally where we, instead of talking about specific technology in the 23rd century, we pick something that happened in the news. Mm-hmm. Sometimes we even were there when the news happened. Mm-hmm. Remember when the dinosaurs came?
Yeah, from World Mess Hall.
Yeah, exactly.
Sure, and other times when it's something that we figure, well, so we're not there ourselves in person, but we figure it'll be very interesting to our listeners.
Yeah, true enough. And this time it's a coup.
Mm-hmm. Yes, it is. GreenCell was taken over.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So, as far as understood, used to be countries that were affected by coups.
Right. I haven't heard that happening in a long time, with countries, I mean. When it happens nowadays, it's with companies.
Yeah, exactly. And, sometimes it happens with small companies, but GreenCell is like a market leader for teleportation.
Yeah, they make one of the top 7, yeah.
Yeah. And they make a whole bunch of other machines. Mm-hmm. They made the intergalactic escalator. Mm-hmm. They employ thousands of people and robots and so on. So
has a huge impact.
Definitely. So it happened a couple of days ago, and the news outlets won't stop talking about it.
Sure, no, they've got lots of stuff to say. Helps that both the the new leadership of GreenCell and the old leadership of GreenCell, well, they both have a lot they want to say.
Yes.
So they're providing all kinds of interviews.
And we can get information from any possible source. I think everybody working with GreenCell or using GreenCell or is affected by GreenCell has something to say. Mm-hmm. And because it's a global company, there's a lot of people that have something to say about this. So. But you're already saying new leadership, old leadership?
Yeah. It was pretty quick there. Quick in the sense of the coup happening, sure, but that the new leadership is, made public announcements. Yep, we're the new leadership now.
Yeah, they went really fast. Mm-hmm.
Sometimes there can be, some confusion when a coup happens, who's actually in charge, who's not. And of course, the old leaderships will maintain that there is still some confusion, but not according to the folks in charge now. The majority of them are from the accounting, was the accounting department.
Exactly, the accounting department took over.
Yeah.
And it was also interesting because the official or the former leadership, let's say the management, they were at a retreat.
Right, exactly. They were all out of the office.
And then it included like the directors and all senior management. And of accounting, nobody joined. So I guess nobody for accounting was deemed relevant.
Not necessary, maybe.
Exactly, but that meant that everybody from accounting was there. Mm-hmm. And then the moment they were at the retreat, they took over all corporate communication channels.
Right. They're the main instigators. They're working with 2 other departments, right? legal and facilities.
Yeah, exactly. As far as I understood, like both of those departments,
Those
fully sided with accounting.
Correct, and they tend to. For a coup to be successful, a corporate coup to be successful, those are the two departments you really need.
True. Yeah, it's true. Actually,
It's not a coincidence, So
I mean, this all must have been like prepared.
yeah. Not just an accident's the wrong word.
Spontaneous.
Exactly, it must have been some thinking and planning. Ahead of
Exactly, like they knew when the retreat was happening, and I guess from legal and facilities, there weren't a whole lot of people represented it at the management retreat either. So maybe there was some dissatisfaction even about them not being invited to the retreat.
Well, potentially, although if they were planning this, maybe like someone from legal was meant to go, but they said, I'm sick, I can't make it. Something like that. Now I'm just speculating. Yeah. While there has been a lot written in the news about this, I have not been reading it all.
But you have a fair point. Like if you plan any kind of coup, you need legal and facilities, definitely.
Yeah.
And
facilities to change all the access cards and things like that.
Which they did.
Yeah, of course. And legal to write up the new company policy.
Yeah, and they
make the new people in charge be the new people in charge.
Yeah, exactly, because you need the paperwork to prove that this is actually legit, and that you can prepare everything. But of course, you can't actually have the legislation changed before it happened.
Right.
But they're really fast tracking this now, so they're all drafting the documentation for it to be validated, and then the new leadership will be official new leadership.
Yeah.
And they did also pretty cool siding with facilities, or basically having facilities backing them up, because they changed the access codes, and management is still at the retreat.
Yeah, indeed. Right. Not just that, so access cards to the office, of course, but the retreat. Do you know where the retreat was?
I think it was in Georgia.
Yeah, that was it. And that's one of the places where only GreenCell operates teleporters to.
Yeah.
So all the previous management of GreenCell are there. And facilities made it that they couldn't teleport away. Yeah,
it's like they have the individuals blocked, so their permission retracted that they can't actually teleport.
Correct.
They can't teleport away from the retreat, and most definitely not back to the GreenCell hub.
Yeah. And the second part there, you're taking over company, fair enough. First part though, where they can't even go home to their families and stuff, that seems a bit harsh. I understand why in terms of a coup. But that's one of the downsides of having a coup, It's it can't be pleasant on all fronts.
Yeah, true. And I also think this might just be, let's say, a compromise in the making, where the old leadership basically validates the new leadership in exchange for them being able to leave the retreat.
Right.
Yeah. So, but still supplies are being shipped in and so on. So
sure. Teleported in even, they can totally send things in. It's that the old management cannot teleport out.
And there are worse places to be stuck than a retreat.
That's why they had the retreat there, yes? Yeah. But of course they weren't intending to lose their company and then not be able to leave the place.
That's true. But it was interesting where all the departments involved in the coup largely weren't at the retreat or just didn't go. And then accounting is at the moment promising more accountability.
Right.
Just saying that the whole accounting wasn't really properly represented in the company strategy, and also saying that the company could be doing a whole lot better with accounting in charge.
Sure. Well, now they'll get to... we'll get to find out, I guess, whether they prove their point.
And also we're going to find out if how product development, strategy and marketing and so on, sales, how this is going.
How they go. Because sure, for GreenCell, so for any company, but for GreenCell specifically, they have accounting, legal, and facilities. At least in those three, they don't have the departments that produce the technology.
And as far as I understood, the warehouse staff is as of yet undecided, right? So
right.
All the production staff and all the machines themselves, they are trying to stay neutral.
Sure.
So what accounting is saying that they keep up production, but this is of course by the goodwill of the actual warehouse staff, right?
Sure.
So if the machines themselves are saying we're not sure this is a good idea, if they stop production, they're going to have a problem. So
of course, so presumably there's some more negotiations going on there.
Yeah,
more quiet ones.
And also what I'm not sure what to make of it, but it's accounting is saying that it's temporary, right? So they're saying like
sure.
they took over, but it is mainly until proper new leadership was elected among the departments that we just mentioned, right?
Yeah.
So they're saying, okay, we're just here temporarily, we're going to settle in a final situation later, but when this later is actually going to be,
there hasn't been a date set.
Exactly. They say, well, let's just let things settle down. We'll take over for the time being. And then, but of course, it's been going on for a couple of days. They don't mention a date. Everybody's a bit suspicious, I'm not sure if they're...
Yeah, I mean, again, based on previous experience with other company coups or corporate coups, this one, maybe they do have good intentions, but at least in the past, it's often turned out the opposite.
Yeah, turned out the opposite. Like, we're in charge now, we actually kind of like it, and we're going to keep it that way.
Yeah. Well, we've been running the company temporarily for the last 6 months. Yeah, that means we're the most qualified to run the company now. So.
Exactly. Now we're going to have things put up for a vote, but you can only vote for us. Things like this. No?
Yep.
But you see already some random other big companies already acknowledging the new leadership, right? So
Yeah. Ones which work with GreenCell, it's in their interest for things to keep running smoothly. They don't want there to be some big disruption. And it seems like they're shifting their weight already behind the new leadership.
I think Faceplant was the first out of the door, but they have a rather dubious history themselves with their constant name changing and so on. So, so this is, I'm not sure, like, if the whole situation is reversed, how this is going to affect the companies that were, really fast acknowledging the new leadership.
Yeah. I guess it would depend how fast they are at reversing that.
Yeah, exactly. Immediately acknowledging the old leadership again, So just whatever. Whoever says they're in charge, we acknowledge that.
Yeah, and I can imagine when money's involved, everyone will understand that.
That's for sure.
Maybe there's no hard feelings.
I was interested in finding out what the competition was saying, right? Because, especially when it comes to teleportation, like GreenCell are market leader, but not the only ones. And of course, they make a bunch of different machines. So I was checking, is any of their big competitors saying something? And then they released a joint statement, right? So you saw this?
I did. Was it 3 companies, I think?
I know at least VVF.
Yep.
I keep pronouncing it the German way. It's a German company.
Makes sense.
VVF, Ribnet 7, I think, was in there. Kamakawiwo. I think there were more, but those are the ones that I remember.
USW was one of them.
Yeah. Okay.
Those were the big 4.
Exactly. So they released a joint statement saying, please keep talking to each other. Make a compromise.
Right.
But because the stocks are down, right? So they see their stocks are down, and usually means that their own stocks will be negatively affected as well. It always works like that. Like, one company in a certain sphere is doing bad, all the others also lose stock value.
Sometimes, often, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So it's not like, hey, they're doing bad, so the competition will probably benefit. It's like, no, they're doing bad, so this means the industry is in a bad shape. So let's just sell our stocks. So they're saying, hey, please keep calm, please keep talking to each other. Don't worry about stuff. That's just to save their own situation, I guess.
Yeah, and that's how it affects the companies, of course. And then there's the general public. How are they affected?
How are we affected?
We're part of the general public, yeah.
Exactly. Have you been noticing?
Nah, I've not been going to any of the locations that were exclusively served by GreenCell. And the places I have been going, it's not caused like delays or crowding or anything like that.
Yeah, Brazil is definitely
another place which is exclusively GreenCell access.
Exactly, and they're definitely, how do you call it, regretting their exclusivity.
Right, it seemed like a good deal at the time when they signed it many years ago, but now that's just the downside of not diversifying their teleportation providers.
I think GreenCell was paying a lot just to get that exclusivity deal, but I'm not going to Brazil, and I think a lot of people are not going to Brazil. Just imagine...
Not worth the risk, yeah.
You go there, and then for some reason service is paused or on hold or just, terminated. You're going to be stuck in Brazil. You're going to have to hoverboard out, or take a car that takes forever.
You can't imagine that the new leadership want there to be this disruption, so this must be more like a kill switch type thing set up by the old leadership that the new leadership hasn't yet worked out how to get around.
True, but it could also be, some sort of riots among their own, or
true.
at one point the
Internal
warehouse
dissent,
staff or the IT department decides to not support them anymore.
Yeah. It's almost as if coups, corporate or otherwise, do not always run smoothly.
I mean, that's what I'm. I mean, that's not what I'm necessarily expecting.
No.
But it's what I'm, considering that might happen. So that's why I'm just not going to Brazil at the moment.
Makes sense.
And like a lot of other countries where they have all kinds of companies operating the systems. Okay, GreenCell is down. I'm taking another connection. But yeah, so that's. I mean, they're saying everything will keep working. Production will stay. They released, this list of bullet points. Production will keep running. All servers will operate. All plans are valid. If you have a monthly pass or a daily pass or a yearly pass, don't worry about it. You will be able to use all services. But security checks will improve. That's always a bit of a warning signal for me. What does it mean? Why do they need more security checks? What are they afraid of? Why do they want to check me suddenly?
Indeed, yeah.
Normally, it
like
takes.
You've not changed anything about yourself, like about how you are operating.
Exactly. So it will just be a general thing, but usually it takes a couple of seconds to teleport there, and now it can take up to 30 seconds, and that makes me uncomfortable while teleporting. I mean, I have valid reasons for it, but it could also just be, only half of the systems are running because they have internal struggles, and then just say, security checks.
Yeah.
I'm doing quotation marks.
Sure.
But
just as a way of throttling the traffic.
Exactly, that's just their way of hiding that they aren't in control of everything.
Right.
That's what I'm suspecting anyway. Did you see the most recent news?
I saw I had something come in, but I didn't even have time to read the headline because it was as we were starting.
Yeah, it came.
Did you see it?
Yeah, it's the thing with the VVF came. Showed up in my feed a couple of hours ago, where representatives of VVF have been spotted visiting the GreenCell hub.
Okay, that's a bit unusual, but
yeah, exactly, and especially in this case, they just released this joint statement saying, "To the old and the new leadership, please keep talking to each other, find a compromise."
But now they're talking. I mean, so it looks like they're talking with the new leadership. Maybe they already talked with the old leadership. They may be acting as like a go-between.
They're brokering like a peace treaty or something like that.
Maybe.
See, but then you would expect them to talk about it. They're saying, "Hey, we're brokering a peace.
Sure.
we're the dependable pillar, the reliable party in this industry." But they didn't release any statement, not in front, not afterwards.
Yeah, no, that's true. Maybe they wait to see if they succeed.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. I mean, let's say the more paranoid people were thinking they're talking to the new leadership to discuss things like mergers or takeovers.
Okay. Like support in exchange for some stake in the company.
Exactly, saying, "Hey, you're in charge now. Previous leadership wasn't up to mergers and takeovers. How are you guys thinking about this?"
Okay, yeah, sure. And you follow that. Paranoia through. Perhaps this whole coup was sponsored by VVF in the first place.
In the first place,
or at least they promised support behind the scenes or something.
Yeah, that they had been trying to get something like that, like a merger or a takeover, going, but leadership wasn't interested, while people in the accounting department said that would actually make sense with the numbers that we're seeing. And then this was a way of getting that organized.
Yeah. I guess that kind of thing, we need to wait for everything, all the dust to settle, there to be some nice, book written about this 10 years from now.
Yeah. And then it's going to be like, okay, new leadership was acknowledged, and then discussions about maybe a merger started, and then they had a merger, and then they changed the name to VVF, and then, looking back at it 10 years ago,
then it becomes clear what was intentional from the start.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I think we brought our listeners up to date on all the different news, but the story isn't over yet.
Sure, no, still some developments coming.
Yeah. Okay, that's a little bit less about specific technology, but just about the roaring 23rd century. All the excitement happening in the future.
Corporate excitement.
Corporate excitement, exactly. Oh man, Can't wait for the movie.
CEX, corporate EX. You could just do CE, but that's a bit boring.
CEX, corporate excitement. Could be a news category.
Could be.
Okay. Well, I would say we wrap up.
Yeah, sounds good. Listeners to this podcast in the past, please send us an email by writing to michaellasagna5@gmail.com. Put the number 154 in the subject. That way we will know that this episode successfully went back in time and that you listened to it.
All right. Then thanks for listening and see you in 200 years.
Bye-bye.